Our first video covering the Empire of the Hand finished with the destruction of the Thrawn clone under the hand of Thrawn on Neroon. Today we're going to look at the hand after that point. Things do get a bit convoluted and unclear, which, in my opinion, is due to it being an obscure topic not all the authors involved would have been especially familiar with while writing the New Jedi Order and subsequent books, leading to a few places where the Chiss ascendancy and the Empire of the Hand got conflated, but also some potential in-universe secrecy and intrigue. Chronologically, our first stories about the Empire of the Hand after the Hand of Thrawn duology are a short story called Fool's Bargain and the novel Survivor's Quest, both by Timothy Zahn, set 22 years after the Battle of Yavin. In Fool's Bargain, we get a glimpse into the Empire of the Hand's operation, pacifying threats in the unknown regions. The story follows an Empire of the Hand stormtrooper unit as part of their 501st, helping to liberate the planet Kariak and its inhabitants, the Akari, from a warlord. In terms of the Hand's broader narrative, it's not necessarily a major plot point, but it highlights the concern of the stormtroopers for the alien civilians, and with the planet joining the Empire of the Hand, including one of the Akari, Sumil, joining the 501st, highlights its openness compared to the Galactic Empire. Survivor's Quest is about the discovery and exploration of the wreck of the Outbound Flight Project, which had been discovered in an area known as the Redoubt within Chiss space. As a Jedi project, Luke and Mara Jade were contacted through Admiral Park of the Empire of the Hand on behalf of the Chiss Ascendancy to arrange a meeting to give the wreck back to the New Republic, or at least the Jedi. The project had been destroyed by Thrawn on its way out of the galaxy, so the Chiss felt they needed to make some kind of amends for it. In the opening of the book, Luke and Mara speculate about whether the Chiss and the Hand were in direct conflict, though this seems unlikely. They also mention contact between the Hand and the Empire, implying some level of relations between them, but also it's implied that it's probably not much more than diplomatic contact between them and the New Republic. The exact nature and extent of Thrawn's empire still remain generally a secret to the known galaxy, and this contact with Park marked their first time hearing the term the Empire of the Hand at all. The conversation also shows a few things with respect to the Hand's relationship with the Chiss. Firstly, that the Chiss in some way recognized the Hand's existence, considering they were using the Hand to relay the message. Secondly, that while it wasn't necessarily hostile, neither was their relationship overly friendly. Here's a quote. "So you and Formby, the Chiss Ascendancy official organizing the contact, are on good speaking terms?" Mara pressed. "I wouldn't say we're on good speaking terms," Park hedged. "Official Chiss policy is still that Thrawn was a renegade who brought nothing but dishonor on the rest of his people." "Tell that to Stent," Luke murmured, Stent being the commander of the Chiss forces within the Empire of the Hand. Park shrugged. "I didn't say all the Chiss agreed. I simply said that was the official line. But Formby and I have spoken on occasion, and the conversations have been reasonably civil." For the mission, on top of the Chiss and Jedi involvement, the Empire of the Hand sent one of Soontir Fel's son, Chak, to act on their behalf. After this book, which was actually written after the subsequent New Jedi Order series chronologically, the relationship becomes a bit more complicated. The Essential Atlas, released in 2009, states that after 19 ABY, the Chiss began to integrate the Empire of the Hand into the Chiss Ascendancy, although this puts that 3 years before the events of Survivor's Quest, where they're still acting as an independent entity. In the Yuuzhan Vong War, specifically Dark Tide II Ruin, Jagged Fel shows up to aid the New Republic, claiming to be heading a group of fighters on loan to them on behalf of a Chiss household phalanx, by order of Soontir Fel. This implication further supports that part of the Empire of the Hand had been integrated by the Ascendancy, at least the Chiss forces under the command of Stent, but also that some of the humans from the Empire had joined as well. The Fels were often primarily mentioned as being members of Chiss society, but also raised within Chiss society, implying either a closer level of cooperation between the Chiss and the Hand, or else that the authors weren't really sure on the distinction. In another book of the New Jedi Order, Force Heretic Refugee, Luke and Mara meet another human serving with the Chiss, Peeta Abe, and comment that they thought only Park and the Fels had been accepted into Chiss society, which fit into the absorption retcon, but does sort of indicate that it wasn't always planned or meant to be that way, and may have initially sprung up from misapprehensions about some of the characters, since obviously Luke and Mara wouldn't have expected that everyone else in the Empire of the Hand was Chiss except for the Fels and Park. When trying to contact the Chiss, another book, Hero's Trial, mentions that Jagged Fel isn't willing to be an intermediary, and that they're getting no response from Neroon. It also indicates that Palpatine sent Thrawn back to the Chiss themselves when he learned they were fortifying against the Yuuzhan Vong, which doesn't really fit with the way any of the relevant characters portray the relationship between the Empire of the Hand, Thrawn, and Palpatine. which again supports one of the often proposed retcons that there was heavier involvement between the two than otherwise indicated. The apparent contradiction first gets addressed in Troy Denning's Dark Nest trilogy, set 36 years after Yavin, where Luke thinks about the apparent vanishing of the Empire of the Hand, and later he and Mara discuss it directly with Formby, whom they had met earlier during Survivor's Quest, and whom Park describes his relationship with as remaining civil but nothing more. "I'm beginning to see why the Ascendancy doesn't want the colony encroaching on its frontier," Luke said. "Were the Killiks also responsible for the destruction of the Empire of the Hand?" Formby turned and in a surprised voice asked, "What makes you think the Empire of the Hand has been destroyed?" Luke wasn't fooled for a moment. He could feel the aristocrat's dismay through the Force, and so could Mara. "Baron Fel, for starters," she said. "He wouldn't have abandoned his duties while the Empire of the Hand stood." "Perhaps it was merely absorbed," Formby suggested. "After being battered into nothingness," Mara said. "We know that Nerowan has been abandoned. Something must have happened." Formby sighed in resignation. "The Empire of the Hand served the purpose Mithra Naruto intended, though it was not against the colony, as you suggest." "The Vigari then?" Mara pressed. "The Yuzan Vong?" "That's really all I'm at liberty to say," Formby answered wearily. "Except perhaps that the colony is only one of the terrors remaining in the unknown regions. Do not be surprised to see the Empire of the Hand rise again when there is need." This again plays into the new direction of there being more coordination between the Chiss and the Hand over their history. And it does fit with Thrawn's broader goals, so as a retcon, their temporary absorption is what I'm generally happy with. One problem with it, which is never directly addressed, is that the Hand was a larger entity with a lot of member species and worlds. The Chiss, as insular as they are, would not readily accept leadership over what amounted to a huge swath of the unknown regions and its variant species. And during the Swarm War, they aren't really shown as cooperating with the Chiss Expansionary Defense Force. Formby's statement does imply what I think is the most reasonable explanation, that the Chiss members and most of the Imperial forces joined the Ascendancy, but that the Empire of the Hand constituent worlds in general ended up regaining some level of self-government, and probably remained in some form of united empire under Fel's leadership, having succeeded Park, with the Chiss being able to rejoin as necessary. In either case, subsequent events make it clear that the Empire of the Hand was not entirely dissolved. The Fate of the Jedi series, set 44 years after Yavin, has the final appearance of the Empire of the Hand mentioned directly by name. When Jagged Fel, as head of the Imperial Remnant, was fighting a coup by Natasi Dala at the Battle of Exito 2, and bringing in a fleet, "You're being granted an honor, Admiral. You're the first to behold a secret finally come to light," said Jagged Fel's voice. "You're looking at the vanguard of the Empire of the Hand." Dala then orders an attack on Jag's forces, and has the following exchange with her captain. For the first time she had known him, Rimmel hesitated. "The Chiss Ascendancy has nothing to do with those ships out there. They belong to the Empire of the Hand and are obviously Jag's pets. Now don't make me repeat my order." Ultimately, we don't know what the Empire of the Hand's exact status was during the period between Survivor's Quest and Jag Fel's revealing their survival. I do think the most likely series of events is that the Chiss largely reintegrated them during the Vong War, with the Empire of the Hand remaining an independent entity led by the Fels, who themselves integrated into Chiss society, and with a proper alliance between the two groups. It also seems likely the Hand became a core part of the later Fel Empire, combining the forces of the Empire of the Hand and the Imperial Remnant under Jagged Fel. I do potentially want to do another video on the Fel Dynasty later, but for now that's going to conclude our look at the Empire of the Hand. If you've enjoyed these videos, consider leaving a like or subscribing. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments as well. Thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.